Year 1 and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson. Okay, so if you have the Year 2 maths book, then you are in the right place and you are working with me today. And we are working today on page number 18 and we are going to be carrying on with our fractions. Okay, so to warm our brains up this morning, I've got 2 warm-up challenges for you, and this is the first one. Now, thinking about yesterday, we started to find half, didn't we? And we know now that to find half, we need to share it into 2 equal parts. So, to warm up, I would like you to draw these 3 shapes onto your whiteboard, a circle, a triangle and a square, and I would like you to find me half of them, please. And then you can also write down half as a fraction as well to remind yourself what that looks like. Super. So by now you should have had half of each of these shapes. I would like your adults to take a picture and so you can send it to me so I can see how well we have remembered how to find half. And then the next thing that I would like you to do is use this website. I'm going to leave this here so you can pause the board and you can go onto this website here. I'll also pop a link in the description as well. And this link will take you to this website. And on this website, you can set yourself a timer. So we've got 5 minutes here. And I would like you to see how many correct fractions you can get within that time. Okay? So the question is always going to be, how much is shaded? And we know here that this circle has been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and 3 of them are shaded. 3/4 of the circle are shaded, so I know that my fraction is 3/4. So my numerator is 3 and my denominator is 4, remembering our numerator and our denominator. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click go, and I was, yes, correct. Now let's have a look again. So I can see that 2 of my 4 boxes are shaded, but don't forget, if I look without the line in the middle, I know that half is shaded, isn't it? Because it's the same each side, so it's half. Click go. Brilliant. So I would like you to have a go at this online game and see how many you can get correct, okay? Because this will help us remember our quarters, our halves, and make sure that we are using our fractions which represent the correct amount of sections shaded on each shape, okay? So see how many you can get right in 5 minutes. And then I would like you to take a picture and send me your score so I can see how well we are doing, okay? So, once you've done that then, we are going to move on. And we are going to move on to today's learning. Now, today's learning question. Can I identify fractions using shapes? And remember, our key word identify means do we know and can we find? So do we know how to find fractions by using shapes? Now I've just given us a little recap here. So remember, 1/2 looks like this. So 1 at the top and then our line and 2 at the bottom. And just to recap, we've got our numerator, and remember we say numerator because it's at the top, and then we have our denominator because it's at the bottom. Brilliant. Now can you tell me what the numerator is? Have a really good think. Go back to yesterday's learning, have a really good think. Shout it out at me. Excellent, let's have a look then. So the numerator is the number of parts that we have. So we're finding 1 part. And the denominator tells us, well done, the amount of equal parts we have to make it a whole. So we are finding, when we are finding half, we are finding 1 part out of 2. Okay? So keeping that in your mind now, let's have a look at our activity. So our question says, find and colour 1/2 of the circles. Okay? Now to do that, year 1, we need to first think about how many circles we have all together. We need to find out how many would be half, don't we? So the first thing we're going to do is count them, and we're going to put it into a sum so we know how to find the answer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 circles, and remember the question is asking us to find 1/2. Now we know how to find half, and we've learnt about this in lots of different ways, haven't we? We know to find half, we must divide by 2. Brilliant job, well remembered. And we also know that we can work this out in our heads. Remember, when we looked at our halves, we knew that with the smaller numbers, we could think about them straight away. So get 8 fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're going to divide them into 2. So making sure that we've got the same on each side. And we know this because we know that 4 and 4 more is 8. So 8 shared into 2 is 4. Well done. And we can check our learning by sharing them into how many groups? 2. So if we're sharing 8 into 2, we need 2 groups. Okay? So 1 over here, 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 and 1 over here. So I have 4 in each group, and I know that's 8 divided into 2 equals 4. So I now know that half of 8 is 4. So half equals 4, and I'm going to colour 4 circles in. Okay? So I'm going to get my pen. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I know that you can do a lot better with your colouring at home. So I would like you to now pause the board, have a go at drawing your circles, have a go at using the methods that we have to find half of our amount, okay? And we're going to colour them in. Brilliant. Once you've done that, you can send me a picture and then we're going to move on, okay? So this time we're going to find a third. So remember, to find 1/3, we need to find 1 part out of 3. To do that, we need to divide by 3, which means we are sharing into 3 parts, okay? So it's very, very similar to division because we need to find 3 parts, which is 3 groups, okay? 3 sections. So let's have a look then how we're going to do that with our shapes this time. So, find and colour 1/3 of the squares this time. So I would like you on your whiteboard to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares for me. So that's your first task, to draw 6 squares. And then you're going to tell me now what we need to do next. So how am I going to find 1/3 of the squares this time? You're right, we need to start with our number of objects, so that's 6, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to choose a black pen just so I know that you can see it. So we're going to start with 6. And then can you remember what I said we need to do if we're finding 1/3? Thinking about those parts, if I put a third here so we remember what a third is. How many parts? How many groups? 3. Brilliant. So we need to divide it by 3 to make sure that we've got 3 equal groups, okay? So, we can do this in lots of different ways, remember. We can move them into 3 groups. We can count in our heads. We can use objects. Or, remember, we can use our times tables. So how many times do we count in threes to get to 6? Let's do it together. 3, 6. How many? 2. Brilliant. So we know that 6 divided by 3 equals 2. And that is 1/3, okay? So we now know that number 2 is 1/3. So I'm going to put that here, okay? 1/3. So 1/3 of 6 is 2. And I'm going to write that here to help us remember. 1/3 of 6 equals 2. And I would like you to all do that as well on your board before we call them in, to make sure that you know that once we've divided, to find out what 1/3 is, we then need to make sure that we're writing it as a sentence. So we know that 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So we found our third. So we definitely now know that 1/3 of 6 is 2. So now we can choose our colour and we can colour our squares in. So I'm colouring in 1/3 and I need 1, 2 squares. So I've coloured in 1/3, so there's our 1/3 of the squares, which means that it is 2. So again, on your board, make sure you're using these 3 different methods, these 3 steps to find our answer. Okay? Brilliant. What you could also do then is have a go at drawing 9 squares and seeing if you can find the answer to 1/3 of 9 squares the next time. Okay? So then, the last reminder now. 1/4 this time. Okay? So we saw this fraction yesterday and we know that 1/4 means, our numerator is going to tell us, we need to find 1 part out of 4, okay? 1 part out of 4 is going to give us 1/4. And don't forget that 1/4 is dividing something into 4 equal parts. So to find 1/4, we need to divide by 4 because we are going to share it into 4 equal groups, 4 equal sections. So fractions are very similar to division, okay? And that's why we did division just before fractions. So it's really easy for us to put the 2 together. So let's have a look then at our shapes this time. Wow, we've got triangles this time and there's quite a few of them. So we need to find and colour 1/4 of the triangles, and we know that 1/4 we need to divide by 4. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to divide by 4 this time. So what do we need to do first? We need to know how many we start with. So we need to count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 triangles. So draw 12 triangles on your whiteboard, okay? And then we need to find 1/4. So we need to know how many before we colour them in. So we're going to divide 12 by 4. Brilliant job. Okay. Now thinking about how we can do this, we can use our 100 square, we could use our times tables, we could use objects, okay? And I'm going to use the triangles this time. And I need how many groups? 4, okay? So I'm going to put 1, and I'm going to have, let's think, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and how many have I got in each group? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. So I've got 3 in each group. So I now know that 12 divided by 4 is 3. So to move that there so you've got a lot of room. Brilliant. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I now know that I need to colour in how many triangles? 3. Well done. Let's colour them in purple so they're nice and neat. So I'm going to colour in 3 triangles. You will colour them all in so they are beautiful and they are all in the line. So I now know, year 1, that 1/4, and we're going to write this together, 1/4 of 12 is 3. Okay? Brilliant. Now sometimes you might have to do it the other way round, and the question might look a little bit tricky, but it's exactly the same as what we've just done. For example, this question here says, what fraction of the shapes are shaded? So this time you've got to find out the fraction, okay? So let's have a look all together how many shapes there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? So there are 9 circles all together. And how many are shaded? 1, 2, 3. So 3 are shaded, okay? And I need to think about how I'm going to find out the fraction of the shapes that are shaded in. And all I need to do is reverse my sum, okay? So if I do 3 times something equals 9, okay? So 3 lots of something equals 9, because I know that I've got 9 altogether, which is my answer, and I've already got 3 shaded in, haven't I? Okay, so it's got to be 3 lots. And I can already see here that I've got 3 there, 3 there, and 3 there, okay? So 3 lots of 3 equals 9, okay? So if I've got 3 lots of 3, that means I've got 3 groups, doesn't it? I've got 3 groups of the same number here. 3 groups of 3, which means, remember, if you go back and have a look at a third means we are dividing by 3. So if I've got 3 groups of the same number, year 1, then that means I know that there is a third shaded. So 1/3 of the shapes are shaded in grey, okay? Now in your workbook today, you have got 3 questions on your sheet, but today I only want you to complete question 1A, question 1B, question 1C and question 2. We are not going to complete question 3 today, so just the first 2 questions on your sheet, okay? So all of the questions today that are about shapes and finding fractions within shapes, okay? So have a really good try, have a brilliant day, make sure to take lots of pictures of all of that practical work from the beginning, and I will see you tomorrow.